Yeah, what's funny and why?
I mean, that's a continuation of the topic, the conversation we had the other day.
Yeah, that was intriguing to me. You said something like, in your improv, you moved beyond an initial stage where you were focused on what do I do, what do I do, towards an awareness of the audience and the different kinds of things that were making them laugh.
It's the difference between doing improv in a workshop and performing in a show. And to some extent, the purpose of a show is to entertain an audience, be it to make them laugh or to make them feel things or whatever it might be. And so being aware of how the audience is responding to things, and we all do it. We all play up to what they find funny and what they don't, and when they laugh, pause to let them respond to something or play something more out to them.
Yeah.
Or if something happens in the room, responding to it. There's a Fringe show I did. It was set in the medieval times, and the object of interest for that show was a pogo stick, and we had a student sketch group come to see our show, and they'd all had a drink or two before coming, and they were very enthusiastic as an audience. There was some blacksmith scene, and they all started going ding, 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 and so it was actually one of the most fun shows I've ever done. A lot of the other cast sort of had this panic set in of, my God, how do we deal with this challenge of the audience? At times, pulling focus away from us. And there was the inspiration behind the pogo stick was a horse, a one-legged horse. So I was hopping about on stage, and they were all going clip clop, and I stepped out of my character through the fourth wall and said, right, look, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this properly. It's clip for forwards and clop for backwards, or something like that. And then we had this whole game of almost conducting the audience. And there were 3 knights on pogo sticks that came at some point, and each of the pogo sticks was described as having a different... Was it a different sound effect? I think it might have been a different regional accent. So there's the Scouse pogo stick, where all the audience were going, boing, boing, mate, it's bloody boing. We had great fun then incorporating what they did and playing into it.
Yeah, so if you hadn't been able to engage with the audience and what they were offering in that way, then the whole show would have... Well,
there's an awareness of what's happening in the room, right? If someone smashes a glass, you want to acknowledge it in some way, because the audience otherwise is all thinking, oh, there's a glass that's just been smashed there. You want to say, yes, we know, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And show that you're in control and bring focus back to what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think there was a show with a creaky door that sounded a bit like a seagull, or enough that someone said, that's a very noisy seagull. And then it became a big part of the show.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice way of injecting very real spontaneity into a show, keeping it responsive and reactive.
Yeah. And I guess early on, when you're just learning the ropes, there's a tendency to view these things as sort of, they generate panic a little bit.
They're distractions, and they're off-putting, which they are, but they don't have to be.
They can become material.
Yeah, and it makes the show feel like, I think we had a show that was reviewed as feeling like one big in-joke with the audience. And it really can do.
Yeah.
In the most magical way.
Yeah. Building
off one thing that happens and making that thing, in some sense, the star of the show.
Yeah.
And there's a sense in which you exist on the stage both as a performer and as a character. And an audience may laugh at your character in the world you've created and the things they do and the words they say. Or they may laugh at the performer having to do something difficult, or if your character, if you suddenly, as a performer, say something that is strange or unusual or awkward or puts you in trouble. Maybe you say something accidentally that reveals some strange personality flaw you have, or something, or something that you think is normal that
no one else
does.
Yeah.
And the audience will laugh at you, the performer, not the character. And knowing when both of those, the difference between those things and distinguishing them can be a really useful thing. For knowing how to best play an audience, as it were.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, one of the best pieces of advice I was given, particularly in my early days improvising, because I was too eager to step beyond the fourth wall, and each time you do that, in some sense, you dismantle the world you've created and the belief in the characters. And the piece of advice I was given about that was, it's okay to do it so long as you stay in character. Your character can step through the fourth wall, but you never should.
Yeah.
In the way that if an audience is making a noise, your character can respond and say, if you're playing a Roman emperor, you can say, the rebels are amassing, hear them squabble.
Yeah.
And that's a much stronger way of negotiating that than say, right, do you mind? We're trying to do a show here.
Yeah.
Yeah, walking that line is it's an interesting thing to think about. And then for more sort of concept or themed shows, where perhaps you're hosting the show in character.
Yeah.
So if you're a newspaper reporter telling a story, you are sort of juggling both of those responsibilities at once.